The access and barrier to entry to climbing can be steep for people, like to be able to buy the resources and then be able to have the resources to go climbing outside. To be able to like have days off, to have gas money and reliable resources, friends to go with, and all of the tools to go somewhere like Joshua Tree, which isn't even far, but still like that barrier to entry can be really steep. So I think it's really valuable for our local community to have a place like Ruby. My name is Remo. For Kaya, I'm guide authoring Mount Rubidoux, where we are now, and where Baboon Stewardship has also adopted the Mount Rubidoux Park.
Hi, I'm Adan Morales. I'm the CEO and president of Baboon Stewardship. I've been developing boulders outside for a long time, and now I'm a guidebook author for Kaya. Baboon Stewardship is a registered nonprofit. We're like a local outdoor stewardship group that take care of the areas, specifically the Inland Empire, but we do take care of areas all over SoCal. When we registered, we kind of shifted our focus into 3 overarching missions. First one is about taking care of the outdoors. The second one is helping the community and the people. And the third one is just educating the community through science. Remo and I, we've been climbing here since like 2013, 2014. We decided to adopt the park because there's no nonprofit organizations or no one really taking care of Mount Rubidoux. And it's an historic climbing crag that has been kind of forgotten, and we want to highlight this place again and make climbing more accessible, but also to take care of our crags.
Mount Rubidoux is an area that has a really deep history in climbing. And I think in particular, there's a lot of people in the Inland Empire region whose first experience climbing outside is at Mount Rubidoux, myself and Adan included. So today we focused on clearing out some invasive plant species, particularly around the wall of glass area of Rubidoux. These are castor plants. They're super poisonous. Castor contains ricin, which is mostly concentrated in the seeds themselves. The wall of glass area happens to be covered in them, and it's also like this ravine that leads directly to the Santa Ana River Trail. The seeds and everything can get carried by like wind, animals, water, so it's also a direct route for them to spread even more. So it's really important to manage the plants before the seeds come to maturity. We can measure how much of the population we reduce and then monitor it for the next season to see what in the seed bank has regrown, to determine like what affects them, like how much work is needed to reduce the population so it's like no longer effective in this landscape. No matter where I am, no matter what I'm doing, I'm probably going to be putting my effort towards community building and stewardship because those are the things that I care about the most. For an area like the Inland Empire where there may be a high population of people who are like lower income, the access and barrier to entry to climbing can be steep for people.
My background does influence me to try to help people make outdoors more accessible to everybody. San Bernardino, pretty much the outlook for the youth, or at least when I was growing up, was like either you join a gang, you work at a factory, you work at a warehouse, and that's it. Like that's your only out. And I was surprised that I actually lived past 24. I thought I was gonna die before that. You know, just the violence, aggression, and drug life. Slowly, I just replaced that old addiction with a new addiction that's healthy for me. And never looked back since.
You know, we're both people of color from low-income neighborhoods. We've both struggled a lot in life. That's the kind of story that you don't see in climbing very often. That's what we thought climbing was. It was something that you just did at like a day camp or like a summer camp. And then a friend of mine brought me to Hangar 18 Upland, and the very first day that I had gone, I was so intimidated. I didn't even like touch anything. I didn't climb at all. But I was stoked, and then like I came back, I think within just like a couple days or a couple of weeks later, and just I guess never stopped. I think it's the kind of thing I always knew I wanted to do, but I didn't know how it was possible.
We live in a poor community. It's a lot harder for us to like enjoy the outdoors. And that's why like we resonate so well to make climbing like more accessible. Where it's like, all right, all the climbing gyms are outside of San Bernardino, outside of Riverside. So that's when we just started putting a bunch of FAs. I'm glad that we started doing that. Like Remo started helping me out with putting up FAs as well, developing an entire crag. So with Baboon Stewardship, I would like to do everything I can. A lot of popular crags are starting to get over-impacted with new climbers. So it's like, all right, what could we do to help alleviate that? The easiest way is just creating more outdoor crags closer to lower income communities. Baboon Stewardship has a side department called the Climbing Development Committee. Our mission there is talk about the ethics of developing, protecting the environment, and trying to make outdoor climbing more accessible. Try to map out like where communities are in need and see if we could find how crags are nearby that are worth it to develop and are close enough for these low income based climbers that can't drive all the way to a climbing gym. So how do you make climbing more accessible for them? Make sure it's closer to them.
The local areas are so slept on. They're hidden gems that people just don't know about. And again, for people who are local, I think as they start to engage with the Kaya guidebook and they start to go out to these areas, they'll start to see what gems we have locally.
And one of the things that I love about Kaya that I am in love with is if you go onto their app and look at a crag, it will show you access issues. Hey, right now it's temporarily closed because of a fire, or parking is very limited, or we just lost access because of property purchase or whatnot. That is vital information that no guidebook could replicate. They could have that information, but it might be old. It needs to be updated information. It has to be new because things change rapidly. So we just need a digital guidebook that could change just as fast.